I think this is an important area. And Soteria, San Jose, I think is unique in this area. That when you think about Soteria, the study was done with a specific small group of people. And in my role, except for the first two people, I was the one who went to the hospital, spent time, and brought the person back to the hospital. And you're talking about people who had no more than just a small amount of contact with the mental health system, and most of them have never been on medications. And one thing, I would say 99% of the people who came to Soteria that fit this population had, within that few days before coming to Soteria, had not slept for a significant amount of time. I think there is some relationship between sleep and the things that they diagnose the DSM, like hallucination. I think there is a key relationship for this population. I think it's very different for people who are on medication, because sleep that comes with medication is very different than the natural sleep. And it has a huge effect. My sort of personal theory is that what we call hallucinating hearing voices is a process of dreaming while awake. Essentially, if you don't sleep, at some point that process of dream does sneak out, and we think of it as not being delusional and not. No, that's why I say it's a normal process of human interaction. It's not a thing. And when you deal with this large population of people who hadn't been damaged by the system, you see, I think this is an area that needs to really be looked at intensely. People to avoid the mental health system altogether, that the medical model being treated, the treatment itself is damaging.
I personally actually have insomnia myself. I don't sleep often. And it was a thing where I wasn't able to take medication at the time because my daughter was so young. I wasn't able to take sleeping aids because I was worried about being able to wake up for her. So I had to find alternatives. I was offered valerian root and melatonin and all of those things, really. But I think it's more personal to the individual. For me, it was my mind was racing all of the time. My mind is constantly on go. It never, ever shuts off or stops. So for me, I had to occupy that. I started reading or doing puzzles or writing or whatever it was for me that could occupy my mind at the time, or even just embracing what I was actually thinking about to clear my head of the thing that I kept revisiting or going over and over again. But I think it's more specific to the individual. Most days, some people really do respond well to medication and sleeping aids, whereas I did not and could not, as an alternative, take those. So I had to find a different way. Some people work out, run. There's so many different avenues, but it is like, I believe it was Voice or someone that just mentioned, being able to not sleeping is likened to being intoxicated. And after a point, you're actually almost sleepwalking. And that is something that sometimes people can mistake for disassociation and then things of that nature. Like stepping out, you needed a break, your mind provided a failsafe. And so for me, that's what it became. And that's what it like can be if I don't get enough sleep. So just a matter of finding like what brings comfort to you or what you're actually lacking to get that sleep. Sometimes it's just a matter of having too much going on in your life.
I can tell a house story of being with House Story about sleeping. So we had a woman at the house who hadn't slept for, I don't know, maybe a week, maybe several days. And we were having a meeting, and she stood up and started talking like she was the head of the company. And she started talking about productivity was really not up. And somebody, raised their hand and said, Madam President or something, we feel that some of the workers are not productive because they haven't been sleeping. And can you suggest, basically they're asking her to suggest for herself, but can you suggest a way that we can help the workers become more productive by sleeping better? And she said, well, of course, they should take a melatonin and or a Benadryl and sleep. And that night, without anybody saying to her, you haven't slept, and she asked for, I think, a Benadryl or a melatonin, one of them, and she did sleep. And so that's what I mean about the house community really could resolve its own stuff.